Hello everyone and welcome back to Looks and Wine. My name is Caitlin. If you're new here, welcome. And I make luxury videos every week, usually up on Fridays at noon. So if you like videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. Hit that like button if you like videos like this. It really helps me out. So today I am showing you guys a bag I picked up from Fashionphile that you've already seen. You've already seen it because I also bought the bag from Vestiaire Collective a few months ago. Why did I buy a second bag that I already had? So basically I ordered this bag from Vestiaire and the condition of it was correct. It is authentic. I had it authenticated. It came from a French reseller. It took forever to get here. They took almost 3 weeks just to ship it. So I think it took 4 or 5 weeks for it to actually get to my doorstep from when I actually purchased it. And that was frustrating because this is really a summer bag and summer was over. But what bothered me is that they did not talk about the smell. I kept it even though it stunk because I thought maybe I can fix it. So far, I have been unable to mitigate the smell problem with this bag. Now, normally when you're carrying this bag, because I have carried it, you can't really smell it. My concern is that it's going to make my Louis Vuitton SLGs stink over time. And I'm not really good with that. I've tried a bunch of different things, but currently it has a baking soda fridge box in it. And it is a lot better than it was when I first got it. Carrying it actually helped a lot, just being kind of outside. But this was recommended by Purse Forum, and this is Carpet and Cloth Refresher Odor Eliminator. It's for automotive use, and getting smells out of cars is extremely difficult. So the way a car smells and the way a leather handbag smells are pretty much the same. So it's perfect to think about something like this because it's gonna smell like new car, and well, this is partially leather. No offense to people that smoke, but I'm sorry, it stinks. And it makes your bag stink. And that's what we have here. So I will be trying this and I will let you know. I'll put a little box in here telling you whether or not this worked. But the bag is extremely difficult to find in the pre-loved market. And I had been looking for several months at the time that I found it. And you guys know this is technically I guess the third time I've bought this bag. So fabric bags, like that's a whole nother thing. Like I'm not gonna get into the weeds on it because I talked extensively about this bag when I unboxed it initially. I can tell you that I definitely wish I had bought it from Fashionphile to begin with. I have opened it up, but I put it back together kind of the way that it was because I thought the packaging was so nice. And you know, I've seen people unbox from Fashionphile before, but a lot of people that I've seen unbox from Fashionphile are Fashionphile bloggers. So I thought it was gonna be kind of like, you know those brands that send bloggers like really fancy packaging and send everybody else really crappy or no packaging? Yeah, this was not the situation. Apparently, everybody who buys from Fashionphile gets the same awesome packaging, and I'm so into that because I think that makes a huge difference in your experience with the brand. I know it's a small thing, but when you're buying at this price point, it just lets you know that the place that it's coming from takes care of their goods. The first bag I got was crushed in a plastic bag in a mailing envelope. Seriously. The second one, the one that I just showed you, came in a dust bag in a box with air paper. Not bad, but it was not this. Look at this. This is in a beautifully branded Fashionphile box. We've got a nail file with a Sex and the City quote on it that says, "I like my money where I can see it," hanging in my closet. So first of all, super excited. Then it came with a card that's beautiful with all of my information on it for the bag, my Fashionphile receipt. And then it had this beautiful, I mean, the confetti is completely unnecessary. I don't need confetti, but it gives you that experience like you would get from a luxury boutique. This package was actually more exciting to me than the way that my Louis Vuitton boxes usually come. This also has a little sticker on it. Let me move some of this confetti so it doesn't go everywhere. And then it did not come in the Fendi dust bag, which I do have the Fendi dust bag for the other one. So it came in a Fashionphile dust bag, and this dust bag is slightly small for it. So here's the second one. They are pretty much identical. This one does also have an odor. So one of the things, it did not mention on a Fashionphile, but it's not a strong odor. They usually only mention odors if it's like really strong because obviously things that are used are gonna have a slight odor. It's very slight. It is not as offensive as the other bag. So I'm kind of learning as I go along what issues are gonna be with the fabric bag. Because as you guys know, the first bag that I got had staining all over it. This one has staining slightly on the interior. And the other thing is that because this was originally white, no matter how good a shape you get this bag in, it's not going to be white. Just white over time is going to turn. And because of the way that this is dyed with the blue edges, it's really not something that a cobbler is going to be able to do much more than clean. That being said, I will probably, with either one, have them looked at by, you guys know my favorite cobbler, Dino's, who does all my luxury shoes, adding rubber to them. I will definitely have them look at it for a couple of spots on, regardless of which one I end up hanging on to. This hardware on this one is showing up more gold than the other hardware. Also, this one has more visible glue residue, which I thought was interesting, which you guys aren't gonna be able to see really on camera, but it has some glue residue right on the top on the front here. It's also got glue residue right here, and it's got some spots of glue around it. So I don't know if it was repaired or if it had just kind of been in the heat. The next part where you see wear on these fabric spy bags is usually right in here on the interior where people's hands go in and out of it. And that's where I have the problem on that bag, on the other bag, and where the smell is coming from is from the dirt right on the interior. So this one was not owned by a smoker, but it definitely sat in someone's house that had a slightly musty odor or just sat in closed space somewhere. So regardless of the smell, this is the one from Vestiaire and this is the one from Fashionphile. So right off the bat, holding them side by side here in my studio with good lighting, because that was one of the problems I've had. I've looked at these side by side and I just wasn't getting enough of a difference. This one from Fashionphile is slightly more yellowed than this one. Also, this one has more glue residue issues. I'm concerned about trying to get the glue residue off and then actually damaging the bag, which would make it to where I can't return it. So I'm thinking that I'm leaning towards actually keeping this bag. If I can get the smell out, this one truly is in better condition, which is shocking. I wasn't expecting that because Fashionphile takes really, really good photos and this one looked in better condition, but they don't always take photos of every single little bit of glue residue. They'll usually just put in the description, there's glue residue, and then show you a picture of the worst spot, which I think in this case was right across here because it's right on the front of the bag. They had a picture of that. And then you could see the glue residue on a couple of the handles. But because this one has no glue residue whatsoever, I don't have to worry about getting that off. And like I said, when I'm carrying it, the smell doesn't really bother me. Again, my only concern is just over time making my canvas SLGs from Louis Vuitton smell. So I think the big takeaway here for me, as far as pre-loved goods, buying things, I love the fact that Fashionphile, and technically with Vestiaire you can return too, but it's more of a pain in the butt. If I had to go and do it all again and I had not purchased this bag, I would be perfectly happy with this bag and more than happy to try and figure out the glue residue, because this bag was on Fashionphile for maybe $350 and this bag originally retailed for over $1,500. I think by the time it was discontinued it was $1,600 or $1,800 for the fabric version. Not to mention, I'm sure the leather version was more expensive. The thing that I want you guys to be wary of if you're looking for this bag or a spy bag of any type, the spy bags have a very special type of wear. The leather ones do have a lot more corner wear than a structured bag because they're not structured, because there's more rubbing, because it's not ever just sitting on one spot. The handles also wore differently depending on how somebody carried it. But I will say that Fendi did a fabulous job with this. The way that this handle is done, I have not seen any of these, and I've looked at a lot of them. I have not seen a spy bag where there was issues with the handles other than glue residue. That's the main thing with vintage bags and especially vintage spies that I've seen. The other thing that you might see is like inside here, the metal will start to get weird over time. And Fashionphile previously had one that was missing this little thing right here, which is kind of like a little plastic bit on the end, and that had just fallen off. And I don't know if you can get that replaced through Fendi, but Fendi does, like Louis Vuitton, repair bags. So you could get that replaced. I'm really not sure. I think because it's fabric and because the interior of even the leather ones is fabric and the nature of how they were carried, because this bag is way up on the arm. So you can imagine if I'm a person carrying this bag is in my armpit. So if you think about that, you're gonna have odor. The one that I got originally was disgusting. So somebody probably wasn't wearing sleeves. So keep that in mind. Personally, I don't like carrying this over my shoulder because although I can, it works. It's really awkward and it also doesn't really stay on your shoulder. It's a way easier bag to carry like in the crook of your arm or to just carry like that. It is a great bag, but it's definitely more like a Birkin on that aspect. Even though you can put it on your shoulder, nobody does that. If you're interested in the Fendi Spy and you're kind of wondering about it, I do think this is a great bag. It's such a fun bag because it's got the secret, the pocket here, then it's got another little secret pocket here. It's kind of a bottomless pit, you know, it's super open. It is pretty open, so if you're somebody that doesn't use SLGs to contain, you know, your lip gloss and your chapstick and your little tiny things, I would not recommend. I think that's another reason why this bag was designed with this pocket right here that goes like that. This pocket is great for those small things that can disappear, or like if you were to drop the bag, if it was going to tip over, those things would fall out the sides of the bag. So that's definitely, if you don't have a pouch inside your bag to contain small things, I would definitely put them in here. It's also a great place for your wallet or your keys. I don't see anybody getting their arm in here, but you know, for extra security, there's options there. So it's just a great bag. It's super unique. It's readily available on the pre-love market. I mean, there's not a lot of them out there, but they are a lot at an affordable price. And there are quite a few in fairly decent condition. Just be aware that smells are going to be an issue with this bag because of the design. They do come in leather, but even with the leather, I have seen a lot of listings with smells. Anyways, that is my two Fendi Spy bags side by side. Stop the presses, ladies and gentlemen. We have a different stitching color. I better not have a super fake. I thought I noticed something slightly different. Oh, you guys. Is it though? This is really interesting. Sorry guys, totally distracted. So I was looking down and I noticed that the one from Fashionphile has yellow stitching around this part of the strap. This one, this is the one from Vestiaire, has white stitching around this part of the strap, and you can only see it if you get really close. So I'm gonna have to do some research on this. Now, okay, there is one explanation that there could be. So even though this is white stitching, I am seeing white stitching in here too. In another part of the strap, you can see that there is white stitching also. Either they changed the stitching color. Yeah, because there is definitely white stitching here. You guys, now I have like doubt about the authenticity of both bags. I mean, I trust Fashionphile more than I trust Vestiaire, but I had this authenticated and I sent all that. So I personally, if I had to do it all over again and I knew that it was going to be available on Fashionphile and I was willing to wait for it, which at the time I kind of just wasn't. I thought that this was the best it was gonna get. I would have been perfectly happy with the one from Fashionphile, like I said earlier, because the experience was great. It was like the best experience you can possibly get on the pre-love market. I bought it. It was easy. There was no drama. There's a return policy. It came beautifully packaged. I got a dust bag, even though it's not the Fendi dust bag. I got a nice dust bag. Actually, that's nicer than the Fendi dust bag. So this is the Fendi dust bag, and it's a large nylon dust bag. And it is nice, but these strings aren't super nice. This is the Fashionphile dust bag, which isn't nice. It's a lot smaller, you can see, but the strings are way nicer. It's better constructed. But I highly recommend Fashionphile. I will definitely be purchasing another bag from Fashionphile. In fact, I've got like 3 bags that are on my wish list right now that I was definitely thinking about purchasing from Fashionphile. Even if you find the bag on another site for a little bit less expensive, at this point, having experienced what I've experienced with eBay, Vestiaire, and Fashionphile, I would go back to Fashionphile. Hands down. If it's on Fashionphile, even if it's a little bit more expensive, it's worth it to me to buy it from there than going elsewhere. This is the experience, just hands down, and how easy it is. And if one or both of these turns out to be fake, I am covered. If I want to sell it back, if I have trouble selling it, they'll buy it back within 6 months for a really great price. If I change my mind, I mean, there's just so much security with that. And a lot of the resellers are doing that now. Rebag does that. And I think the RealReal does it as well, but I know Rebag's structure is very similar to Fashionphile's. I'm really glad I did this. I'm really glad I had this experience, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys found it interesting. Definitely completely polar opposite experiences with both brands. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. Don't forget to like this video because that really helps me out. And leave me a comment down below telling me who your favorite reseller is, where you've had the best experience. Have you bought from Fashionphile before, Rebag, any of the others? I'm sure everybody would be interested to know. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone.